Hey, what's up, everybody? Pale Blue Dot, A Vision of the Human Future in Space by Carl Sagan. Where can I start with Carl? He was an astronomer, planetary scientist, astrophysicist, astrobiologist, a cosmologist, and an author. I won't list all of his contributions to science, but it's worth checking out. He was involved in or responsible for much of what we have learned about our solar system. I'll put a link to his bio in the description. Carl was more or less the face of space science for his generation, and needless to say, he was possibly the most influential science communicator ever. You may know him from his TV series Cosmos, and there is also a book, Cosmos, published in 1980, and Pale Blue Dot is considered to be the sequel to Cosmos. In 1990, the Voyager space probe, of which Sagan was a team member, took a photo of Earth while traversing the outer boundaries of our solar system. The taking of this photo, which has been named Pale Blue Dot, was Sagan's idea, and that's the inspiration for this book. It contains one of the most famous science speeches of all time, the Pale Blue Dot speech, referenced countless times in other science books written by people who were influenced by Carl. I'll include a link in the description to a video of Carl giving his famous Pale Blue Dot speech. If you haven't heard that yet, I urge you to check it out. Pale Blue Dot, the book, captures what Carl Sagan, the man, was all about. It explores all the areas that Carl was known for getting involved in, including planetary science and cosmology, but this is also a book about philosophy, morality, and ethics. Carl starts the book discussing the anthropocentrism of human nature. Throughout history, humans have tended to assume that we are the center of importance and causation for everything, including the very universe. It's all about us. Sagan offers an utterly humbling but beautiful and much more thought out, grounded in reality view on our place in the cosmos. That was a major feature of Carl Sagan. He was interested in what was true and not just what sounds nice or makes us feel better. What can we learn from what is objectively verifiable? Sagan discusses the series of great demotions, which are all based on science, objectively verifiable knowledge, poking holes into and really just burying the reasons for continuing to hold anthropocentric views. From there, he discusses the ins and outs of space exploration and colonization. This is the astronomy portion of the book, and as always, Sagan is fantastic. He covers a range of aspects of colonization, from ethical questions to logistics, physics and chemistry, and politics, as well as SETI, or the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. He also goes over the terraforming of both Mars and Venus. This portion of the book reminds me of a book we reviewed not too long ago, The Future of Humanity by Michio Kaku. It definitely feels like Kaku read Pale Blue Dot and simply pursued the issues from a more modern perspective. But Kaku's book focuses more on what kinds of challenges will need to be overcome, whereas Sagan also goes into depth on to what extent some of these challenges are rooted in our very own attitudes and nature. This brings up many questions like, is spaceflight something that we should be diverting funds to when we have a planet full of problems to deal with? How will exploring space help us? Sagan takes the same view that Michio Kaku posits in The Future of Humanity. It will eventually come to spread out or die out. Earth may be the birthplace of humanity, but if we are to survive long term, humans had better master space travel. Sagan points out that it may not even be humans as we think of them today, but an evolved form of human. It truly is a privilege to be able to spend this time inside the mind of such a thinker as Carl Sagan. A couple years ago, I read another book he wrote, A Demon Haunted World, and it became one of my favorite books. It took me this long to read Pale Blue Dot because I thought it would only be about now outdated technology because of the subtitle, A Vision of the Human Future in Space. But that only constitutes a very small portion of this book. Please do not feel that this book's age will make it obsolete. If anything, much of what is discussed in this book is more relevant and applicable than ever. Carl Sagan was one of the pioneers in shedding light on concepts like nuclear winter and global warming, and these are covered in Pale Blue Dot. This book really is such a good representation of Carl Sagan, the human being. He had a magnificent brain, but he also put his heart into this book, and that makes it very special. Carl Sagan was a gift to humankind, and I'm grateful that he left us these books that contain bits of his mind. So, as you can see, this is the paperback version of this book. Check out that amazing cover featuring a painting by David A. Hardy. Some of Sagan's books come in two different styles. The paperbacks don't include pictures, but they're just standard paperback books. But the hardbacks are a totally different product. Here's a hardback copy of Cosmos. You can see that it's full of really nice color photos and it's printed on gloss paper. I believe Pale Blue Dot comes in a hardback just like this one. These are really high quality products, and I can only imagine how special they must have been when they first came out. Okay guys, that's it for this one. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you've never checked out Carl Sagan, please do yourself a favor and just search up his name and check out a few videos. He was a truly wonderful human being. And if you're looking for a good reading experience, check out Pale Blue Dot by Carl Sagan.